Hey everyone, my quick comment but not financial advice about a couple of news that are going out today. So the first one about NIO closing its bond offering, the second one about a potential 3 billion additional raise by NIO here, and the third one about China's economy. So generally we've seen risk assets on a decline, not only Chinese but also other ones, based on the Fed meeting, which was rather hawkish still. I'm keep on preaching on the channel here, like let's watch the US dollar, let's watch the government bond yields and so on, and all of them keep on spiking, so that's not great. But China a little bit more washed out here, because the news is rather doomsday and bad currently. Today again about Evergrande not being able to issue new bonds, and my personal take here is, without being too much into that matter, it rather seems like this is due to the fact that there's currently an investigation going into Evergrande because of their wrongdoings, and that's sort of preventing the bonds issues, not so much that they couldn't technically go out and raise new money. However, I've seen these stories on a couple of China collapse videos all of the time about how the real estate sector is going to crash China in general. I think we'll see, the truth will come out, and I would rather say there's also quite a bit of a chance that things are not as bad as they are projected here in Western media oftentimes. Anyways, now jump over to NIO, and we have some real facts, because that's official SEC filings about that NIO has closed the bonds offering. So I've kind of reported on that 2 times, right? First about the start of the offering, which was rumored to be rolling over existing debt into new one. That was exactly the case. Later on, it also got confirmed at which price, and the price seemed to be rather on the cheap side in terms of how at what price they could convert into stock, and that possibly has led to also the successful subscription to these bonds now by some of the parties. My suspicion again is here that this deal was kind of sort of orchestrated in the back by the players. Possibly it might be the same player who bought those initial convertibles that has now been rolled over into those new ones. But anyways, with the release today, we got some more concrete information there, that in total it's around 500 million USD that has been used of this convertible bond, the new offered one, in order to pay off the old one. So that's where the existing debt has been rolled over, and the rest of the part will actually going onto the balance sheet in order for other company purposes such as investing and so on. So these are facts because these are reported. These we know for sure. As I mentioned before, I think considering that that the rest of the 500 million that are now going to the balance sheet might at some point become dilutive, but don't have to. NIO could possibly buy them back before the expiry, but maybe the investors need to price it in as dilution as of now, just to be precautious. Has triggered this minus 70% shave off, which I think is definitely more than what would be the dilutive effect. So there might be more going on with this shave off, and my initial suspicion was that this was kind of in order to maybe by the market, those not market makers, but those who facilitated this deal, that they have also sold off some shares in order to buy bonds instead, and this has possibly triggered this large volume and downturn, and in effect sort of created a win-win situation, I would say, for these bondholders and for NIO at the same time. So this refinancing, I'm not too critical of that. I'm rather critical at NIO if they're raising money at low valuation. And here we have a big new rumor today that NIO might be raising another 3 billion. And in the news, if you go more into the article instead of just reading the headline, you will see that these are rumors currently, not verified. There are no sources mentioned, and so take it as a rumor at the current stage. And the the projection here is that this offering, which we don't know whether or not it might be share offering or it also might be another bond or a different type of a deal, that this may happen next year. And I went out and tried to confirm with some of my sources. So I went out to Bloomberg directly, which has published this story, because I met with actually the team in China, both in Shenzhen and in Shanghai, who's published this story. So I know who's the reporters, and I reached out to them and said, look, hey, is there anything that you, in addition, that you can tell me? And they said, well, no, everything that's in the article, that's what we can tell you, and that it could be around this amount of 3 billion, but it doesn't have to be exactly that one. And, it's just all speculative right now. So my take here is that I would say these could be precautionary talks by NIO. Let's say we have the case that the sales are going down and are not recovering, then NIO surely would have to tap into funding, because then they would not be able to narrow their net losses, which have been very high in the last 2 quarters. That's where all of this NIO unprofitable narratives coming from. However, I also mentioned on the channel before that the next couple of quarters actually should be rather positive on this side. So should see a decrease of the net losses due to the fact that the margins will increase again and that we have a higher volume again after the transition for NIO has kind of been fulfilled after going to the new platform. So in case that happens, NIO should now have a pretty good balance sheet for the short term. So, well, I don't have the amount, the real amount now here in my head. So I think they had around 4.3 billion in cash, which was reported by the end of, should be Q1. And then we get the Abu Dhabi deal, so another 700-ish, 800-ish billion, which are not reported yet, which will likely be reported. Oh, sorry, yeah. The previous number that I said was possibly in Q2. So in the Q3 numbers, we should actually get the Abu Dhabi cash raise on top of that, plus the results of the other convertible bonds that I just mentioned, like another 500 million that will also get onto the balance sheet again, minus, of course, the amount of cash they had to use in Q3. So with that, it's very likely that, there might still be a considerably good cash position for now. But of course, this could deteriorate quickly in terms of things, in case that things turn sour. And during the NIO Tech Day, Li Bin also mentioned like how, yes, the company is committed to go into R&D and investment and see that one as a long-term potential. And also, that at some point, this R&D will be converted back into high profitability and margins, right? So that's certainly on the agenda. Plus, on top of that, that they have learned in 2019 that the company can get to the edge of bankruptcy, right? And they had learned a lesson that, of course, precautionary measures need to be taken. So that could explain why they might be, talking with some of the Arabs there, I guess. Makes sense if you want to raise a big amount of money in a kind of an emergency situation, let's put it like that. Then, of course, you want to start with that, talking that early on. However, it could also just go the other way, that Q3 and Q4 will be really strong, show this narrowing of net losses, and with that a limited cash burn. And then the question is whether or not they may have a change in strategy going forward. For example, trying to invest even more, or maybe starting about buying their own factories. I don't see any signs for that right now, but there could be big plans hidden somewhere. So how much credibility do I give these rumors? Well, I know the team personally who has researched it, so I guess, yes, these talks have been going on, but regarding the story, I think it's important to read a little bit more into the specifics than just about the headlines. It's nowhere certain, it's not imminent, it's not going to happen right now. The story is about next year, and personally, I think it will rather only happen in case that things go wrong. So, or in a case that there will be a change of strategy. That's my personal take with the information that I've got from now. I also reached out, by the way, to NIO directly. So both the PR in Europe as well as the PR in China. I haven't got a response as of yet, but it's only a couple of hours ago. Because I think, NIO could actually also go out and issue a statement regarding that. If that's just a rumor, they have been going out and denied rumors before. Even if these have been positive rumors, they went out and denied some of these rumors. So why not, deny a rumor that is negatively affecting the stock price, right? Because if you want to raise money, of course, you also don't want to have your stock price being affected negatively, right? So still waiting whether or not they're gonna deny that, because I think they could do a denial in a way that still would leave a way or a door open to possibly still raising money at some point in time, because in effect that's just what happens with startups. I mean, they are tapping into the capital markets, into financing their growth and so on. On the other hand, I would say the 3 billion raise would sound quite a bit high. So just at the current time, 5 billion in cash around, plus another 3, that would be at 8 billion. That would be a very big amount. That would immediately destroy all of the fear about bankruptcy fears and so on. So if it's really around this amount, then I think this is about some sort of a precautionary matter about emergency deal or something else. We don't know so far. Anyways, that's my quick take here, possibly a little bit longer than I intended to speak, but anyways, that's what I know for now. Confirmed it with both sides, or at least try to get an opinion of both sides, kind of not really getting a confirmation of both sides. What we know of for sure is that the bond closing, that one is done today and was a success in my point of view. Let's see what will come out in the next couple of days. Anyways, thanks for watching and see you in my next videos.